A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's special session on groundwater, making the invisible visible on the occasion of World Water Day 2022. We have a distinguished panel of speakers with us today who will be deliberating on this important theme. Before starting, we would like to formally welcome our guest speakers. We have with us today Guest in Chief Dr. Kollan Rudro, Chairman, West Bengal Pollution Board. I would request Mr. Ramesh Kumar Saraugi, President of the Chamber, to present the bouquet of flowers to Dr. Rudro and welcome him. I would now request Chairman, Global Trade Subcommittee of the Chamber, Mr. Raj Kumar Agrawal, to welcome Dr. Torit Roy Chaudhary, Professor, School of Environmental Studies, Jadavpur University, with a bouquet of flowers. We have with us Dr. Swati Nandi Chakraborty, Environment Scientist, and I would request our President to welcome Dr. Chakraborty with a bouquet. Joining us virtually, we have Professor Shishendu De, Department of Chemical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. I would welcome Professor De, who has joined us on the virtual mode. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Professor Ashutosh Ghosh, Vice Chancellor, Rani Rashmoni Green University, could not join us today, unfortunately, due to an emergent meeting convened by the state government, but we are expecting him to join us virtually as we proceed with the program. I would request Mr. Ramesh Kumar Saraugi, President of the Chamber, to commence today's program with his welcome address. Thank you.
Dr. Rudra, Professor De, Professor Roy Chaudhary, Dr. Chakravarti, members of the Chamber, guests and friends. I welcome you all to today's special session on the occasion of the World Water Day organized by the Chamber this afternoon. The theme of our special session is identical to the United Nations theme of groundwater, making the invisible visible. At the outset, I would like to extend a very warm and hearty welcome to Dr. Kalyan Rudra, Chairman, West Bengal Pollution Control Board, to our midst. Sir, it is indeed a privilege for us to have you amongst us as the guest in chief. Dr. Rudra is a nationally renowned personality in the field of river and water management. A geographer by academic training, Dr. Rudra has been one of the pioneers in the projects related to the improvement of water quality of the Ganges, including the Ganga Action Plan, GAP, which was launched in 1985. Dr. Rudra also played a pivotal advisory role to the government of West Bengal on the issue of Indo-Bangladesh sharing of Tista water. I cordially welcome you, sir, once again, and I would like to give you a compliment on awareing us about making this chamber as a no plastic zone. Just now, when I was giving a flower bouquet to Dr. Rudra, in a very humorous and lively way, he said, I am an environmentalist, and you are giving me this beautiful natural flower wrapped with plastic. It was just a joke, but these small jokes aware creates the awareness among the people. So I once again thank you for that joke, sir. It is indeed an honor to have amongst us Professor Ashutosh Ghosh, Vice Chancellor, Rani Rashmani Green University, as a guest of honor. Though Rani Rashmani Green University has been established very recently, Professor Ghosh had long ago established himself as a legendary academician and scientist in the field of inorganic chemistry. Professor Ghosh is actively involved in independent research and has co-authored numerous papers which have been published in internationally reputed journals. It is noteworthy to mention that Professor Ghosh has also served as the interim Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University for a year. However, due to some unforeseen circumstances, Professor Ghosh will join the session virtually shortly. Nevertheless, I extend a very warm and hearty welcome to you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our guest of honor, Professor Sirshendu De, from the Department of Chemical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Professor De is a man of many accolades and had been the recipient of the prestigious Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize in 2011 for outstanding works in science and engineering. Professor De would be joining us virtually. I cordially welcome you, sir, to the special session. I may take this opportunity in welcoming our learned guest speaker, Professor Tarit Raichaudhuri, from the School of Environmental Studies, Jadavpur University, to our midst. Dr. Raichaudhuri is a prolific researcher in the fields of groundwater contamination and toxic pollution like arsenic contamination issues in West Bengal, India and Bangladesh and other parts of Ganga, Meghna, Brahmaputra plain of India. He has more than 9,600 research citations as per Google Research Scholar. And I would repeat, he has more than 9,600 research citations and activity participates in national and international seminars, workshops, conferences as a keynote speaker. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Raichaudhuri, and special thanks to you for accepting our invitation. Last but not the least, I would welcome Dr. Swati Nandi Chakravarti, environment scientist, as a guest of honor to the special session. Dr. Chakravarti currently heads the Department of Life Science at the Guru Nanak Institute of Pharmaceutical Science and Technology at Panihati. She is a very popular face in print and electronic media, where she regularly shares her valuable thoughts on issues related to health, hygiene, and environment. Thank you, madam, for your kind participation in today's program. Friends, the World Water Day is meant to encourage people around the world to learn more about water-related problems and to take actions in making a difference. Every year, the World Water Day highlights a specific aspect of fresh water. The theme also sets the focus for the annual World Water Department report. At the 30th meeting of the UN Water held in Rome, the theme groundwater, making the invisible visible, was finally decided to be adopted for 2022. I repeat, at the 30th meeting of the UN Water held in Rome, the theme, groundwater, making the invisible visible, was finally decided to be adopted for 2022. Groundwater is a vital resource that provides almost half of all drinking water worldwide, including about 40% of water for irrigated agriculture and about one-third of water required for industry. It sustains ecosystems, maintains the base flow of rivers, and prevents land subsidence and seawater intrusion. Groundwater is an important part of climate change adoption process and is often a solution for people without access to safe water. Despite these impressive facts and figures, invisible groundwater is out of sight and out of mind for most people. Human activities and climate variability are rapidly increasing the pressure on groundwater resources as serious depletion and pollution problems are reported from many parts of the world. In India, most research related to groundwater management focuses on overuse and abuse. But there are areas where overabundance is the issue and additional use is possible. In spite of the exceptional development in use and degradation, there are water zones where the groundwater issue is not an issue, yet rather an opportunity. Eastern India has vast groundwater potential that is not being properly used. Overabundance of groundwater, which results in the problem of waterlogging, is a serious concern in certain parts of India, especially in large areas in West Bengal, where people do not yet take full advantage of their groundwater resources. The water assets and its use should be overseen well to guarantee manageability. There are additional some zones where considerable asset advancement could occur relating to the effective utilization of groundwater. Therefore, underutilization is also a serious groundwater management issue. In this context, I would request our learned speakers to share their thoughts on the effective and sustainable use of groundwater with special focus on West Bengal and outline the areas where the Chamber may extend its support as an intermediary agency. The Government of India has also initiated numerous measures like Jal Jeevan Mission to ensure water conservation and improve access to clean drinking water for our citizens. Accordingly, on the eve of the World Water Day, our Honorable Prime Minister has beconed the nation by stating, "Let us reaffirm our pledge to save every drop of water." In this context, I would like to inform our honored guests and members that the Chamber has an Environment Subcommittee which aims to expand the scope of the Chamber's participation in matters of environmental conservation. With these words, I would conclude my address and request Professor Roy Chaudhary to commence his address. Dr. Roy Chaudhary, please.
Very good afternoon to all of you. So at present, I want to thank Bharat Chamber of Commerce for giving us this opportunity to organizing to celebrate this special day, World Water Day. Because you know, I think discussion something in a meeting and the practical situation that is completely reverse to each other. So with her, we can talk a lot of things, we can share our ideas, we can exchange our views. But the water that is available, whether it is potable or not, whether it is contaminated or not, considering groundwater, surface water, the condition even is still to date so severe, so unfortunate. Lot of inhabitants in particularly rural Bengal, they are suffering because we, School of Environmental Studies, Jadavpur University, we are involved lab to land and land to lab research for near about last 30 years. So this is the practical scenario, what is going on. I am trying my best to highlight a part of that research because time is very much limited here. Usually when I got the invitation last evening, I told him I usually present for at least 1 hour. But in this case, I only got 15 minutes. So I will try to complete my lecture within 20 minutes. So I am directly going to the point. So my today's presentation, state groundwater scenario, food chain contamination through irrigated groundwater, and mitigation strategies. So you see, when the first report came from West Bengal, that was during 1983. That means 17 plus 12, 22. That means 39 years before. Only 12 blocks have been identified from West Bengal where we have found groundwater contents above its recommended value of arsenic that was fixed by that time 50 microgram per liter. Only 2 blocks. And you see here, during that period, when we identified 2 particular blocks above its recommended value of arsenic in drinking water, 50 microgram per liter, during that time, if you see the Ganga Meghna Brahmaputra plain, so there was no other evidence apart from this particularly 2 blocks identified as groundwater arsenic contaminated. And this is the present groundwater arsenic contamination scenario in West Bengal. And this is the present groundwater contamination scenario in West Bengal. So as per our report, School of Environmental Studies, Jadavpur University, who are working extensively under the leadership earlier late Dr. Dipankar Chakraborty, who was my PhD supervisor as well. So just for your information, Dr. Dipankar Chakraborty extensively done research studies in Ganga Meghna Brahmaputra plain. But late Professor Keshi Saha, who was a renowned dermatologist, he was the person who diagnosed first time about arsenicosis patients from West Bengal. So later on, Dr. Chakraborty started his journey. Later on, it is continuing. Now I am continuing this journey, but condition is much more severe. Whatever we have found 30 years before, only people was taking arsenic through groundwater. Now or wherever you will go, there is arsenic. Considering the foodstuff, what we are taking in our daily life, even the Calcutta population, we are taking considerable amount of arsenic through food chain because the crops and vegetables, what Calcutta population is taking in their daily life, that is transported from those districts which are cultivating those foodstuffs using arsenic contaminated groundwater. So this is the most environmental concern issues nowadays. You see, as per our report, School of Environmental Studies, we have found groundwater arsenic above its recommended value in 148 blocks from 14 districts of West Bengal. Out of these 14 districts, 9 districts, particularly Malda, Murshidabad, Nodia, Uttar Chobbish Pargona, Dokhin Chobbish Pargona, and Calcutta, these 6 districts are located in the east side of the river Ganga. And 3 other districts, namely Bankura, namely Howrah, Hooghly, and Bardhaman, are located on the west part of the river Bhagirathi. And interestingly, we have found 5 more districts in the list in North Bengal: Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, Coachbihar, Uttar Dinajpur and Dakhin Dinajpur, where we have found groundwater arsenic. But if we consider the magnitude, we have found much more contaminated arsenic in these 9 affected districts of West Bengal compared to the northern part. You see the present groundwater contamination scenario in Ganga Meghna Brahmaputra plain compared to 1983. This entire red mark is arsenic contaminated, starting from Allahabad Kanpur track to Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Bangladesh, and all the 7 northeastern hilly states are arsenic contaminated. Now the question is, even after knowing that maybe water is contaminated with arsenic, but the problem is, but the question may appear, why still groundwater withdrawal is so frequent? Because this is the biggest problem in West Bengal, because groundwater is available throughout the year just by installation of one pipe and one filter. Groundwater is available in most of the geographical locations. Nowadays, water table has declined, that is different issues. But in most of the cases, groundwater is available just by installation one pipe and one filter. And for installation of one pipe and one filter, villagers can afford that amount of money for installation of their own tube well. And this is a very interesting observation. We have found that shallow aquifer is mostly contaminated with arsenic. You see, our finding clearly indicates that arsenic concentration in groundwater increases up to a certain depth, then decreases with increase of the depth. We have found up to 40-meter arsenic concentration increases below the ground level. 40 meter means near about 140 feet, then decreases with increase of the depth. And that is why the shallow aquifer is mostly contaminated with arsenic compared to the deep aquifer. You see, each of my talk, whatever I am presenting here, is defended by our published research paper. This research was published in the world-renowned journal Nature in the year 1999. This is another problem, another biggest problem. In many tube wells we have found arsenic concentration has been increased 5 to 20 folds within a span of 3 to 7 years. What I told, in many tube wells we have found arsenic concentration has been increased 5 to 20 folds within a span of 3 to 7 years. That means, suppose, particularly for today, if a tube well water is safe with respect to arsenic, that does not mean it will remain safe forever. With timing, may or maybe arsenic may enter in that particular aquifer zone. And another biggest problem, apart from drinking, cooking and household purpose, the cultivations, 80% of the cultivation still to date is dependent on the groundwater withdrawal. Because we did not yet solve, or we did not able to provide arsenic-free water to the rural environmental surface. So how we will think to provide arsenic-safe water for cultivation purpose? This is the biggest problem. This is the most burning issues nowadays. You see, to meet the food demands of the increasing population in Bengal Delta, the growing season has been expanded from 1 to 4 or 5 crops per year. And rainwater alone can no longer meet the water demand of such intensive agriculture, since only limited rainfall occurs during the rainy season. And another very important issue, that is boro cultivation, that is nothing but summer season cultivation, which requires a huge amount of water, and the source of this water is nothing but groundwater, because we have everything. We have vast surface water resources, but there is no proper water management plan. This is the biggest problem, because we researchers, we can highlight the issue, but we are not the policy makers. We can share our ideas, we can publish research papers, we can publish our research through news medias, electronic medias, we can do some work for the awareness of the people, but we are not the policy makers. This is there is a tremendous gap. So still to date, most of the cases, 80% of the agricultural system is dependent on using groundwater. You see just the rice cultivation practice. For producing 1 kilogram of rice, 2,000 to 3,000 liters of water is required. Plant did not ask that I need this amount of water for producing 1 kilogram of rice. This is a wrong agricultural policy. Water logging during the cultivation of paddy, 60% of the cultivation is waterlogged. So this is the biggest problem we are suffering. You see this water requirement of paddy plant starting from its vegetative. So if you see the water requirement of paddy plant starting from its vegetative to reproductive and ripening phase, you see it is increasing trend. Then finally from reproductive to ripening phase, it is in decreasing trend. So this water, huge amount of water is required for cultivation of paddy plant. And paddy, you know, the rice grain is our staple crop. So if you consider a particular block, Deganga, that is located in North 24 Parganas districts, if we consider all the shallow tube wells used for agricultural irrigation purpose, 6.4 tons of arsenic was withdrawn from underground water and deposited on the soil. So plant will start to uptake this amount of arsenic from the deposited soil. So a part of arsenic we can expect in the crops and vegetables cultivated on this arsenic contaminated agricultural soil. And that was happened. You see, considerable amount of arsenic we have identified in crops and vegetables cultivated from all the districts other than Calcutta. So we are lucky that Calcutta is not cultivating up to this stage, but all the other districts starting from Malda, Murshidabad, Nadia, Bardhaman, Howrah, Hooghly, all are very, very fertilized land and they are doing cultivation and using this arsenic contaminated groundwater. And you see in the picture in the slide, considerable amount of arsenic above its recommended value. Considering rice grain and other crops and vegetables, we have found much more arsenic compared to its recommended value. And the biggest problem, the arsenic, what we have found in crops and vegetables, that is inorganic arsenic. Arsenic 3 and arsenic 5, arsenite and arsenate, that is most toxic and carcinogenic. For your information, arsenic is a slow poison. It will not kill you within a day. It will take time, but finally kill you. Cancer may happen. So a lot of people in West Bengal, I am quite sure it is not clear if you go through the newspapers or other medias, but as per our report, because we are involved in this code research, starting from the era of Dr. Dipankar Chakraborty for near about 30 years. So every records is in our hand. We stored every records. So you see, whatever arsenic we have found in crops and vegetables, that is inorganic arsenic, arsenite and arsenic. Just for your information, just sharing knowledge, there are two different kinds of arsenic available on earth's surface. One is inorganic arsenic, another is organic arsenic. Organic arsenic, mainly arsenocholine and arsenobutane, that is mainly available in sea environment. Huge amount of organic arsenic is present in shrimp, in lobster, what we used to consume in our daily life. But that arsenic is organic arsenic, that is totally non-toxic. So no problem. But problem is the rice grain, different types of seasonal crops, what we used to cultivate using the same arsenic contaminated groundwater in these different parts of West Bengal. You see, not only publishing our report in peer-reviewed international journals, several news media, electronic media, they used to cover our research reports. Kolkata's vegetables, rice and flour high on arsenic, says top university. This is our research report. Kolkata's Bajare arsenicer thaba. Because the foodstuffs, what Calcutta population is purchasing or consuming in their daily life, that is cultivating in arsenic contaminated areas, and it is transported to Calcutta market. So this is the biggest challenge nowadays for the researchers, for the scientists, how to mitigate this kind of situation. Because arsenic is a slow poison. We are consuming a part of arsenic in our daily life. Even the Calcutta population, even considering the drinking water, what we are taking in our daily life, that is arsenic safe, maybe treated surface water, treated Ganges water.
So how is about the domestic livestock? Because a cow or buffalo used to consume 40 liter of water, not like human 3 to 4 or 5 liter of water. They used to consume 40 liter of water and used to consume 5 to 7 kilogram of hay in their daily life. The same situation for other domestic livestock. So from our survey, you see, the published research report is referred here. We have found considerable amount of arsenic in the fodder the domestic livestock used to consume. We have found considerable amount of arsenic in different kinds of excreta, starting from urine or dung. Even the problem is that is knocking the door. We human, we are dependent on different kinds of animal byproducts, starting from milk, starting from meat, and starting from, you see, everything is recorded here. Goat meat, chicken liver, chicken meat, boiled egg yolk, boiled egg white. So some amount of arsenic is present. Because those domestic livestock, they are consuming huge amount of arsenic. Just I placed a reference, a cow or buffalo used to consume 40 liter of water. And if that water is arsenic contaminated, so you can understand so how much arsenic they are taking in their daily life. So in one sense that is good. So God is with us because the methylation capacity for the domestic livestock is far better compared to the human being. That's why in the case of human, they cannot protect for a long about arsenic toxicity what this domestic livestock can protect due to their better methylation capacity. You see, the renowned magazine Outlook, they covered our research. A can of poison, Bengal's arsenic challenge grows bigger as the toxin seeps into the food chain, grains, dairy meal. দুধসহ সব প্রাণীজ খাদ্যদ্রব্যে উদ্বেগজনক মাত্রায় arsenic published in Bartoman. So are millions in Ganga Meghna Brahmaputra plain already exposed to arsenic contaminated water potentially at risk from cancer? Because sitting inside this room, we can never understand about the depthness of this arsenic problem in West Bengal or other parts of India. For that we need to visit fields and we need to see the pain of those local inhabitants. You see, our research was published in the Hindu 19th May 2018, Death by Slow Poisoning. The lady reporter came from Bangalore. Another toxic substance is fluoride. Because if we considering West Bengal scenario, mainly the east and west bank of the river Bhagirathi is majorly arsenic contaminated. But the west part of West Bengal, that is 3 districts, Birbhum, Bankura, Purulia, is worst contaminated with fluoride. Fluoride is another toxic substance which can directly attack the calcium present inside the body. So calcium, where it is present in teeth, it is present in bone. That's why you see these pictures. Dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, even it can attack the bone in such a way. We have found in our observation that a particular person's leg have been folded several times. I'm sharing my own views. This is not, I have taken something through Google search. And this fluoride contamination magnitude is much maximum if you consider the overall scenario in India, much bigger than arsenic contamination scenario. Most of the states are suffering from worst fluoride contamination scenario. And this is the West Bengal picture. Left hand picture is arsenic contaminated districts, right hand picture is fluoride contaminated districts. So core issues of Indian drinking water scenario: scarcity, salinity, arsenic, fluoride, nitrate, iron, manganese, mercury, pesticides, microbes. So this is the common scenario what we stand. Even after getting 53 plus over 22, 75 years of independence, it's a pity really as an Indian, that we are still fighting, and we yet do not provide the safe drinking water to the, in Mahatma Gandhi, what he told, if you look India, you have to look for the villages of India. So still we are not unable to provide safe drinking water to this endangered population. You see, this is a very recent publication, just located beside South Calcutta, Rajpushanapur municipality, published in Groundwater for Sustainable Development. Rajpushanapur municipality, there are 35 words. Out of these 35 words, we have found maximum amount of arsenic in 26 words. And 14 words we have found higher amount of fluoride above its recommended value, that is fixed 1.5 milligram per liter. So this is located just by the side of South Calcutta. Arsenic and fluoride er Bishas Kolkatar ঘাড়ে. Based on our research report, Anandobajar Patrika, they published this research report dated 17th January 2022. So similar case we have observed in the case of foodstuffs cultivated using fluoride contaminated groundwater. Scenario is same. Cultivation is dependent in fluoride endemic zone using taking out groundwater. So that fluoride contaminated groundwater, a part of fluoride is deposited on the soil. Plants used to uptake a considerable amount of fluoride, and finally it enters in the food chain. So this research report was published in Frontiers in Environmental Science. Fluoride exposure and probabilistic health risk assessment through different agricultural food groups from fluoride endemic Bankura and Purulia districts of West Bengal, India. So water is contaminated, food chain is contaminated. What Professor Rudra was telling about particulate matter few minutes before, because he knows better about the air pollution situation. So particulate matter is present there about their recommended values. So this is the situation. Still we have to survive. We scientists, we have to give out the particular way how to survive, how to save this endangered population. Another thing, nitrate. Even nitrate, in our report, we have found in several blocks of West Bengal. We have found 4 blocks located in Nadia district, Chapra, Nabadip, Krishnanagar, Kaliganj, as well Bardhaman district, Bardhaman 1, Ondal, Raniganj, Jamuria, Barabani, and Salanpur. And all these things, what I am telling you today, is based on our published research report that was placed at the bottom side of each slide. Nitrate is another toxic substance, not like carcinogenic, like arsenic, but fluoride and nitrate both are toxic. Nitrate, what is the role of nitrate? If we consume nitrate contaminated water or nitrate contaminated foodstuffs, it first reduced to nitrite, and nitrite will attack the iron plus 2 present in blood, hemoglobin, and it will convert iron plus 2 to iron plus 3. So this chain, iron plus 2 hemoglobin, will be destroyed totally. So instead of iron plus 2 hemoglobin, iron plus 3 hemocyanin will appear, and hemocyanin color is blue. So hemoglobin iron plus 2 chain will be totally disturbed, and nitrate is responsible for this. And as the babies are very, very innocent, as well their immunity power is much less, so nitrate can attack the babies tremendously. That's why blue baby syndrome is very common in the case of nitrate contamination. You see this picture, blue baby syndrome. Published in এই সময় নদিয়া 4 ব্লকে নাইট্রেট বিপদ। কৃষিতে ব্যবহৃত রাসায়নিক ভিলেনি ভূগর্ভস্থ জলে বিশেষ সন্ধান, because the source of arsenic and fluoride, that is natural contamination, but the nitrate contamination in groundwater, that is anthropogenic due to huge use of agricultural fertilizers, urea, nitrate fertilizer, that a part of nitrate leaches out and mixes with the groundwater, and that water we are taking out. Groundwater nitrate new concern for arsenic hit Bengal, published in Outlook magazine. So considering the mitigation options, I will take just another 1.5 to 2 minutes. West Bengal has 2000 millimeter annual rainfall. Vast rainwater surface water bodies. Surface water bodies, what is its use? We are still taking out groundwater for drinking, cooking, other household purpose, even agricultural system is groundwater dependent. You see, after working 25 years in this field, this is the best option. Maybe several institutes developed several kinds of arsenic removal, fluoride removal technologies. But depends how to maintain its water quality time to time or adsorption quality time to time. This evaluation is very important. That is not followed. So after working 25 years, if we use surface water after its proper treatment, this is the best solution which can mitigate this arsenic, fluoride and nitrate contamination problem in West Bengal. You see the vast water bodies that is present in West Bengal. Rainwater harvesting, we should have to give importance on rainwater. Israel, the country, they are giving importance on each drop of water for their cultivation. And you see how water we are misusing. We cannot learn by asking to a person with 30 years of age. We have to target the children what to do and don't to do. If the particularly kid, he or she learns from that level, then she or he will understand the importance of each drop of water. সচেতনতার অভাবেই ছড়াচ্ছে আর্সেনিক বীজ দাবি গবেষণায়। The Fluoride Task Force Committee Chairman, Professor S.P. Shinarai, Professor K.J. Nath, Arsenic Task Force Committee were present in a conference organized in Sonar Kella. You see, I was present there in that conference. Just 4 years before, 22nd March 2018, Anandabazar Patrika published a special issue on the eve of World Water Day. Matir upore niche joler bish muktir dak. But how much we have rectified ourselves, how much we have progressed ourselves to come out from this adverse situation. Considering the world water research scenario, groundwater contributes 1.05%. Still everything we are dependent on groundwater. If we are not yet serious, the day may come out, may knock the door. This situation may appear in several years before. You see several cities in South India, Bangalore, Chennai, they were suffering due to worst water scarcity. Slowly the effect of water crisis will be more severe in developing countries than many atomic explosions. Water, the elixir of life, keep it out of politics. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Roy Chaudhary. Your presentation was really an eye-opener to the entire house, and we would definitely like to discuss the problem in length and what chamber could do on this. We can discuss it later. Professor Chaudhary, you will be delighted to learn that the BP Poddar Memorial Award on Environmental Improvement Awareness of the Chamber for the year 2010-11 was conferred on the School of Environmental Studies, Jadavpur University, Kolkata, in recognition of Dr. Dipankar Chakravarti's outstanding contribution in the area of elimination of arsenic contamination from aquifers in Ganga, Meghna, Brahmaputra plains. This coveted award was conferred on Dr. Dipankar Chakravarti, Director, Research of the Institute. Now, I would request Dr. Swati Nandi Chakravarti, an eminent environment scientist, to give her presentation.
Okay, very good afternoon. ladies and gentlemen. So today we are here, like the initiative of Bharat Chamber of Commerce for the celebrations of World Water Day. And this year theme of World Water Day, as we was discussing a lot till now about the groundwater. So this was on the theme, that is the groundwater, making the invisible visible. First, I'd like to give the Honorable President, Ramesh Kumar Sarogi, to give me the opportunity to tell something on this forum. And here we have Dr. Kullan Rudra, Chairman, West Bengal Pollution Control Board, and also Dr. Tarit Rai Chaudhuri, Professor Shishendu De from IIT Chemical Engineering, and Professor Ashutosh Ghosh, Vice Chancellor Rani Rashmani Grain University, and all the learned persons and media personality. So here, first of all, what we will see that within these pictures, that what for these discussions today we are assembling here. So this is basically like water crisis, with the pictures and the image what we are looking, that the water crisis that India are facing. And this water crisis that will exist over and over a year. And with the figures you can understood that approximately 163 million Indians don't have access to clean drinking water. So if, as you know, that groundwater is the water which are present substantially on the different part of the rocks and the hydrological part of the that soil there, that groundwater exists. And if it is like we are depleted, overexploited that particular water, then only this crisis occurs. And here the 21% of the communicable disease are linked to unsafe this drinking water. And as the already Dr. Chaudhuri have mentioned about the report of the different report of the West Bengal, and I'd like to share on the aspects of that not only the West Bengal, that crisis is on India and around the world that are facing of this groundwater crisis. And this is to awareness, to make the aware to the people, to meet the goal of Sustainable Development Goal 6. And as you know that SDG 6 is to mitigations of the water and sanitations by 2030. So if we are not being much aware about the protections and the conservations part, then how the decisions making part will be incorporated in a different research area of these aspects. This every day 500 children die because of diarrhea in India. As you know, if the water is contaminating, that there are different types of communicable diseases will spread, and not only the India, the different parts of our rural Bengals too. And why we should value of the water? As you know that the maximum percentage of the water, the groundwater, is utilized in agricultural sector. So through that map, you can see that 96 to 19%, 96.19% are utilized. And there the worldwide agricultural accounts for 70% of all water consumptions, and compared to 20% for industry, 10% for the domestic use. So we also, the people, are responsible, the domestics, those who are using day-to-day water in our home only. So that also accounted in this particular area. That whenever we are considering the groundwater, that means not that only the part dealing with the agricultural pupils. And there the Belgium, for example, uses the 80% of the water available for industry. So if we see the World Bank report, there the current trends continue in 20 years in like this way, then about the 60% of LDS aquifers will be in a critical conditions. Like this aquifer are only the source of this groundwater. As you are seeing that the different part of the West Bengal are losing, and that is under the stress of the nitrate, that of the stress of the fluoride, that of the stress of the different types of heavy metals, that is due to the different type of the habit of the agricultural activity, what we are making, like the use of the different types of chemical fertilizers and the pesticides, that ultimately when it's runoff, that gives the nitrate source on the water levels. So India is the largest user of this groundwater in the world. It uses an estimated 230 cubic kilometers of groundwater per year. So more than 60% of the irrigated agriculture and 85% of drinking water supplies are dependent on this groundwater. So we are very much depending on this groundwater level. Not only that, the agriculture activity, the food productions and the industry, humans, health sector are also very much depend on this area. So complex wave factors that are being determines the groundwater extractions, the size of land holdings, density of the populations, water intensity of the crops planted and water users behavior. If you go the rural side of the Bengals, if you go the other state of the India, so the pattern of the humans, how much they are utilizing the water, it change. And that also affecting on these areas. So that irrigations waters and reflects on the economic policies on this particular area. India has both hard rock and alluvial aquifers which differ considerably in the physical and socio-economic profiles and require very different sets of solutions at both and macro and micro levels. So if we see that perspective and challenges of these opportunities, like why we should think for this area. And there are up to the 40% of the world's populations will be living in seriously water-stressed area by 2035. And the valuations of water, like in what are the aspects that why should we give the value? Like as we know that our total economic growth and the poverty reductions and environment sustainability, all these area are mainly depends upon these valuations of this water. So these water sources, in situ water resources and the ecosystems, and valuing the infrastructures for water storage, it is very important that how we will see for the reuse and the recycle, and that is the supply of augmentations. This valuing water services mainly in the part of the drinking water, sanitations, which relates our the human health aspects. So if you see the water demand and use, that is the global freshwater use has increased by a factor of 6 over the past 100 years and countries to grow at a rate of roughly 1% per year since 1980s. So according to the OECD, in 2012, projected that global water demand would increase by 55% between 2000 to 2050. So like that way, if we are thinking on the water availability, so how much water is available? So over the 2 billion people live in the countries and they are experiencing the water stressed conditions. There can be the considerable factors of the seasonal, climatic, and there are the different annual phenomenon. As you have seen, there are the so much of due to the climatic changes, there are the so much of that the phenomena of the environmental occurrence of things has been changed. And there they estimated that 4 billion people live in the areas that suffer from severe physical water scarcity for at least 1 month per year. It is not a very less figure. It should also be noted that about 1.6 billion people face economic water scarcity, which means that while water may be physically available, they lack the necessary infrastructure to access that water, to access the purified water. It is very important. And globally, an estimated 80% of all industrial and municipal wastewater is released into the environment without any prior treatment, with detrimental effects of human health and ecosystem too. So this is basically the annual baseline water stress conditions of throughout the world. And there the extremely high conditions, greater than 80%, you can see that the water stress conditions are present on the different area. And here also the global physical economic water scarcity we are observing on the different parts of the world, and it is around 1.2 billion people, or almost 1/5 of the world's populations live in areas of physical scarcity. And 500 million people are approaching these situations. So this extreme event, so globally floods are there, extreme rainfall events are there, and which increased by more than 50% over the past decade, occurring at a rate of 4 times greater in 1980. So climate change is expected to further increase the frequency and severity of the floods and droughts. So now, if we see that the major pathways which release of human and veterinary pharmaceuticals into the environment. So as we have already spent 2 years of time with the pandemic, and there we have used lot of drug molecules, and that how that particular antibiotic molecules has been mixed with our water flow. That also are dangerous things. If we see the figure, that is the 2,000 active pharmaceutical ingredients, about 2,000 active pharmaceutical ingredients are being administered worldwide in the prescriptions, medicines, over-the-counter therapeutic drug and veterinary drugs. So we have considered, because when we are talking about the ecosystem that must be with all the animals and all the humans all together, we must exist in this environmental area. So there the 30 to 90% of the oral dose excreted as the active substance. The pharmaceutical administered to humans or animals are excreted via urine, as you know, and feces, with the 30 to 90% of the oral dose generally excreted as active substance. So we have to must concern about whenever we will use any kind of drug. So because this drug as an active ingredients, it's mixed into our environments and also in the ecosystem. And that active ingredients we are not able to count out. In the USA, they have done one study, and there they have seen that 1/3 of the prescriptions drug has been mixed in the wastewater, and that has not been accounted properly. So that also the rich source and the new dimensions of mixing of these particular ingredients into this groundwater, which we are not at all accounted till now in India. So these are the figures like pharmaceutical residues in fresh water. So the removal of pharmaceutical is very limited by the wastewater treatment plants, which needs to be upgraded more. So that upgrading of wastewater treatment with new technologies, that the people like the investor, they must have to think that how to solve that problem naturally. Now there are the different biological systems that organisms, most of that organisms that are being used in these effluent treatment plants that has been taken from the outside of the India. So this indigenous kind of treatment plant has to be developed. And there the over-prescription, self-medications and misdiagnosis increase this pharmaceutical product into our environment. So that also a new dimension what we was talking about. So there the global water consumptions in 1900 to 2025 by region, if you see, there the billions meter cube per year it will increase, and if you see the particular with the populations, with the anthropogenic demand, there the consumptions rate also will high. And here basically this model is showing you that how the normal system, how that can be recharge these depletions of this groundwater from our environment. They are the natural systems, like if we can set up the different types of rooftop like as you have seen, like there are the different model already have started. So there the rainwater harvesting, and also there are basically when we are going to the site of the like hilly area, there the slopy regions can be used for the plantations purpose more. Then the runoff, the agricultural runoff can be controlled on the different way what is being depleted over here. So India's water crisis, that only 4% of the world's fresh water resources, although India has the 16% of the world populations, the country possesses only the 4% of the world's fresh water resources. So if you see that there are the 256 out of 700 districts in India have reported the critical or the over-exploited groundwater levels. And India has become the world's largest extractor of the groundwater. So accounting for 25% of the total, some 70% of water resources are contaminated, and our major rivers are drying because of pollutions. And in 2018, it will ultimately gives the indirect effects on the water management index, that is noted 6% of economic GDP will be lost by 2050. And this groundwater, ultimately it poses threat to health risk. And what we are not expecting till now, as we know that over the 75% of the household do not have the clean drinking water, while the 40% of the population will have no access to drinking water by 2030. And UNICEF data said that estimated economic burden of waterborne disease will approximately increase, and as the chemical contaminated water in 1.96 millions in homes. In urban areas, the 50 million people in 15 cities have no access to safe, affordable water. So, moreover, if we see that water risk and financial consequences. So what are the financial consequences over here? So there we can see the water risk that in the level of physical, regulatory, and reputational. So there at the different country, they are maintaining the risk factor on that basis. And if we see the company responses, like there we need to measure that how much that risk factor. And recently I'm sharing these informations to you in this forum that there at the Bangalore, they have given the digital bank of water banking systems. Very recent, they have made this data available for everyone, that to measuring aspect, that where are this particular critical dangers and all that area are being there. So that data has been mapped very maintaining the artificial intelligence, and they have made with that software so that everyone can access on any time. And there also the engagement and the business outcome are also there, that product are very much required. There, as you have seen already, the conditions of the West Bengal, the fluoride and the different salts, that how much it is being elevated in the different levels of the district. So that also deals with the raw material cost, like how we can mitigate that problem, that new technologies are required. And for that, the investor must have to think on this particular area. And here, the monetary valuations are very much required, that how much we are losing and how much we are gaining from this particular project, that we need to think. And over and all, that here the water connecting across this SDG goal. So here we are connecting this SDG goal, and that too to mitigations, our sanitations problem and our total water crisis, that has to be target on this particular World Water Day celebrations. We should keep this motto today. And there are the different types of benefits of transboundary water management systems are there. That benefits from improved the water availability must be there. That the benefits from the improved water quality has to be checked, and there the measurements has to be regular, you need to maintain, and the benefits from watersheds of the quality of water ecosystem that has to be checked, and there the on related that values we will get simultaneously. And this particular slides, I am just sharing with you that how much waste we do every day, this water. Like in the morning when we use kind of brushing, and we used to do this, like use a bucket instead of shower, spend less shower time, shower used 6 to 45 liters of water. Use just a bucket of water while taking bath. So these are the social like awareness that to keep our water conserve and to save our humanity. That ultimate the goal of this like World Water Day celebrations, and we should use this like motto or the kind of habit into our day-to-day life. As in the time of just starting off this program, like we have in every meeting, wherever we go, whenever we are starting in the talking of the plastic use, we always say, don't use the unnecessary plastics. Like as Dr. Rudra sir already mentioned you, that the plastic is a kind of things that are also creating the waste. So that is the thing where we need to start thinking of the water. Like the water is a kind of area that ultimately we need to protect, and we need to think about that how that protections can be done. And whenever we are going from here and there by car, by walking, we see different types of these pictures, that unnecessary leakage of the tap. So we can do something for our like environment. To save our environment, we need to save a drop of water. So thank you, and I would like to share another just 1 to 2 minutes by sharing one video which I am just giving the awareness, and ultimately after this program I can hand over to the chambers to like spread this video for the awareness of this water day.
রোজকার জীবনে একটু পরিবর্তন হোক, সুরক্ষিত হোক জলের অধিকার। জলের আরেক নাম জীবন। কথায় আছে বিন্দুতে বিন্দুতে সিন্ধু। পৃথিবীর 3 ভাগ জল আর 1 ভাগ স্থল হওয়া সত্ত্বেও পৃথিবীতে 2 কোটির বেশি মানুষ পানীয় জল থেকে বঞ্চিত। তাই আমাদের প্রত্যেকের উচিত জল নিয়ে সচেতন হওয়া। 1992 সালে রিও ডি জেনেরিওতে এনভায়রনমেন্ট ও ডেভেলপমেন্ট সংক্রান্ত ইউনাইটেড নেশনসের বৈঠকে প্রথম ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়াটার ডে নিয়ে চিন্তাভাবনা করা হয়। দ্য ইউনাইটেড নেশনস জেনারেল অ্যাসেম্বলিতে এই প্রস্তাব গ্রহণ করলে 1993 সাল থেকেই 22শে মার্চ বিশ্ব জল দিবস হিসেবে পালন করা হয়। প্লিজ সেভ ওয়াটার। লাইফ উড নট বি পসিবল উইদাউট গ্রাউন্ড ওয়াটার। Groundwater use in predicted to increase 30% by 2050. Almost all of the liquid fresh water in the world is groundwater. সকলের জন্য জল সুরক্ষা করার চাবিকাঠি মানব জাতির হাতেই রয়েছে। আমার আপনার একটু সচেতনতা ভবিষ্যতে সমগ্র মানব জাতির জন্য জল সুরক্ষিত করতে পারে। আসুন দেখে নিই জল সুরক্ষিত করার জন্য কোন কোন অভ্যাসে পরিবর্তন আনতে হবে। যখন জল দিয়ে সবজি ধুয়ে ফেলেন তখন জল বেসিনে না ঢেলে বাগানে গাছে দিয়ে দিন। দাঁত ব্রাশ করার সময় অযথা কল খুলে রাখা উচিত নয়। ঘরের কাজে ব্যবহৃত জল হোক কিংবা পানীয় জল, সব কিছু প্রয়োজন অনুসারে ব্যবহার করা উচিত। পাশাপাশি এখন অনেক রাজ্যে বৃষ্টির জল ধরে রেখে সেটি শুদ্ধ করে ব্যবহার করার কাজও শুরু হয়েছে। আসুন এই বিশ্ব জল দিবসে জল নিয়ে সকলের মধ্যে একটু সচেতনতা বৃদ্ধি করে তুলি। সেভ ইচ অ্যান্ড এভরি ড্রপ। আওয়ার ওয়ার্ল্ড ডিপেন্ডস অন ইট। সো সেভ ওয়াটার, সেভ লাইফ। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Wonderful presentation and seriousness of the water situation, and some small tips which we all can implement in our daily life.